a huge amount of information every day. But have you ever thought that, if what you're seeing or reading is true, we know in most cases you don't even think about doubting something you heard on the news or on the radio. We wanted you to get a bunch of facts and affirmations straight, and decided to make this video to tell you about 15 myths you probably still believe in. Let's get it on. The 5-second rule. You're stretching your arm to get some more of your favorite snack and... oh no. What the hell? It fell on the floor. But that's okay. If you take it off the floor really quickly, the microbes won't take over your food. Seems pretty innocent, doesn't it? And it looks like wine. Nobody saw you picking your food up from the floor, so mischief managed. But hold on a little. Turns out the germs don't really wait 3 or 5 seconds before attacking the fallen piece of food. They do it right away. Yes, we know it's a terrible behavior, but what can we do? Do you think that rubber tires can somehow save your car from being hit by lightning? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but this is just a myth too. And thousands of people believe in IT for some reason. Of course, if you end up in the middle of a storm, it's much safer to be inside the car than outside. The vehicles themselves provide a great protection from lightning, but not because of rubber tires and their mystical superpowers. When the lightning hits the car, it gets into the metal frame that protects the passengers by being a current conductor and carrying a charge to the ground. So, beware of convertibles and motorcycles. Most likely they won't protect you from lightning, even with the most expensive rubber tires you can find. We really wanted to tell you this. Brain cells regenerate alright, and quite quickly too. However, until 1960, scientists and ordinary people too were convinced that brain cells couldn't regenerate whatsoever. Well, unless you were Wolverine or some other Gene X carrier Dart-Eye. Fortunately, experts from the US and Sweden universities busted this popular and terrifying myth. They proved that the brain tissues have an amazing superpower that can separate and replace old parts that can't function anymore. So don't worry, you won't wear your brain out. No. Vaccinating children doesn't cause autism-like disorders. At least nobody still has proven it. You might think that worried mums made up these scary stories, but actually, no, it's quite different. In 1998, a famous medical magazine published an article assuring that one popular vaccine could cause autism in kids. Later, this information was disproven, and the magazine apologized like 1,000 times, but it was too late for the rumor. Furthermore, some parents still don't want their kids to be vaccinated, and, well, it doesn't end pretty. Now, tell us, are you afraid of acids too? All these little bottles of wine vinegar your mom scared you with? It's terrifying just to think about what can happen if even a little drop falls on your skin. But we're gonna reveal a secret for you. Actually, most acids are pretty weak, and they usually aren't so pure, so they can't harm human skin. Of course, there are plenty of dangerous solutions like hydrochloric, azotic, and sulfuric acids. Criminals usually use them, so you're unlikely to find it just lying around. We know your parents often tell you that you can't eat too many sweets, and not only because they can cause damage to your teeth or spoil your dining appetite before dinner, but because lots of sweets in your diet can affect your activity. In other words, if you treat yourself to a chocolate bar or a piece of candy before going to bed, it's possible you won't be able to sleep, or you can even start running around the house, scaring the hell out of your cat, fish, and downstairs neighbors. So, if you still believe in this myth, here's a revelation for you. Some time ago, American Medical Association conducted various tests and About 16 scientists couldn't find a connection between human behavior and sugar use. So, if you like to eat some sweet snacks before going to bed, don't worry. Stay calm and keep eating. Actually, a full moon can affect people, only if they're werewolves. Well, you know, fur all over the body, sharp teeth, wolf paws, and a huge dislike for the potions Professor Dorda in all the long and rich history of humankind. The moon was attributed a lot of magic features and a strong connection with otherworldly forces. And believe us, the human wolves are the most innocent among this bunch of monsters. But in spite of all these creepy and mysterious myths, official science could never find any major connection between moon phases and human behavior. Yes, many criminals try to justify themselves by telling they couldn't resist the moonlight, but their statements were totally made up. Now, tell us, which is the highest mountain on Earth? Nah, you didn't guess? It's not Everest, because that's only 29,029 feet high. Moon, Sita, which is almost 4,500 feet smaller than the New. We're talking about the Mauna Kea volcano in Hawaii is 33,474 feet high, so it's obviously the first one in the list of the highest places on Earth. But how come nobody knows about it? The thing is that the biggest part of Mauna Kea is located underwater. So technically, this is a semi-underwater mountain. But this doesn't change the impressive height, does it? Big Ben. If you believe that Big Ben is this big watchtower, the symbol of the United Kingdom, which you can find on lots of souvenirs and gift stuff, then, well, actually this is just another myth, which is pretty much what people believe in. Big Ben is really the nickname of the huge 14-ton bell behind the scale, plate of the gigantic watch. So this bell marks the time. But nobody would name a whole tower after just one bell. So for a long time, it's been called St. Stephen's Tower until 2012, when it's changed its name officially. Now, it didn't become Big Ben to simplify tourists' life. It got the name of Elizabeth Tower to honor the Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth. The highest waterfall. Here's another trick question. Which waterfall is the tallest? Of course, it's not Niagara Falls and not even Angel Falls. Can you guess it? If not, we'll tell you then. We're talking about an underwater waterfall. And don't be so surprised, this is real. This nameless waterfall is 11,505 feet tall, and it's located in the Denmark Strait between Andra, Anzisia, Odringrai, Greenland and Iceland. To be honest, we can hardly imagine how waterfall can be underwater, in the middle of an ocean, but sometimes Mother Nature can be incredibly mysterious. Coin on rails. If you've heard somewhere that a nishi coin placed on the rails can throw a train under a slope, don't believe it, because it isn't true. Imagine the weight of a big train. Alright? Now, tell us, how could a coin of any kind interfere with the movements of this giant that weighs a few tons? I don't know. That's right. There's no way. This trick, of course, can work with a toy train, but not with a huge iron monster. Gadgets and cancer. The information that various electrical devices and appliances can cause such a dangerous disease as cancer is distributed literally everywhere. On radio, television, and other media. They all urge you to give up from frequently using your favorite mobile phones and the common little electronic helpers in everyday life, and literally become an old person. But don't panic. We're not trying to intimidate you. On the contrary, we want to protect your favorite devices. They won't cause you cancer because they're not ionizers. Long story short, only X-rays and gamma rays formed in the process of a nuclear explosion represent a real danger. So it's worth worrying about being Out under the sun. Not about your microwave or mobile phone. Visual contact. Surely many of you have heard that if you really want to catch a liar when he's telling some bullshit instead of a true story, you just have to look them in the eyes. That's the case. And if your friend looks away, up, down, and generally anywhere, he definitely lies. But wait, don't get your sure. It turns out that during a lie, a person can look calmly into the eyes. Yeah, just like that, staring shamelessly. He can tell you any tale he wants, and you're not even going to suspect it. Let's say more. Even a lie detector doesn't always work, and often these devices are simply useless. So without a precious preparation, it is incredibly difficult to discover a good lie, no matter how hard you try. The largest desert. And now, tell us, which is the largest desert in the world? No, it's not the Sahara, as you thought. In fact, the world's largest desert is the Antarctica, an area up to 550 million square miles, while the Sahara is only 3.5 million square miles. But wait a minute. How come the Antarctic is a desert? Contrary to popular belief, deserts are not just a hot, dry, sandy, and lifeless place. A desert is, actually, any land that receives a very small amount of precipitation. And Antarctica.
Thanks a ton for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, and drop a comment below. Share it with your friends too, because good stuff's always better shared.